vision was to create something in North Edinburgh that was going to stand the test of time, because I knew from experience that the college has to continue to change its curriculum according to the economy that it's trying to serve. We register about 16,000 every year. It's the third largest college in Scotland.
The corporate vision is very much towards developing the college towards being recognised as a world-class institution, and that's not just in our teaching area, it's in all the work that we do. We developed a very good relationship with Capita over the system procurement and project implementation.
Yeah, our starting point was, I guess like many large institutions, was as technology crept upon us, more and more databases were being created in isolation. And what we recognised, and in fact when we started to count the number of databases, it shocked us just how many there were. And none of them were talking to one another. So what we set out to do is to reduce the number of databases to the absolute minimum and make sure that we only input data once and we transferred information across databases. And that's what we're in the middle of doing at the moment.
The reason we procured Unity was because we saw its potential as a system which could support a much wider range of operational activities than we had previously done using our corporate information systems. So we have the lecturing staff, obviously, who use the system for recording student results, attendance, etc.
But what is very obvious is that this new system will allow us to track much better. Their systems will speak to one another. For instance, before, the timetables didn't speak to the registers. I have to check always the number of students because the funding council relates to the number of students we have.
The fact that you have all the information, or you potentially could have all the information for any given student at the touch of a button in front of you, will help because it speeds the process up when you're trying to get in contact with somebody.
I use Unity mainly for the registers to obviously register our students when they're here. We also use it as curriculum leaders to help update the prospectus. So it's the marketing side as well that we use it for.
We also have our customer services staff who are responsible for capturing student records and keeping the records up to date.
Over 90,000 inquiries a year that we get by the phones. We have roughly about 40,000 inquiries that come walking in through the door to our course information. And we have probably about 20,000 inquiries through the internet. The image is definitely improving. The website is much more friendlier to use, therefore that will bring on more customers to us. I think the system is very easy to use.
Unity has changed the way our job is in the respect that it has obviously taken us a little while to get used to the system, but I do find that it is quicker for processing the payments. And also I quite like having everything electronically that I can see rather than having to input all the information. For me personally, I quite enjoy using Unity for processing the applications.
In one area in relation to marketing information, we have used the system to capture marketing descriptions that then are stored against course records that can then be used to stream directly onto our website, as well as being used to produce printed and other marketing materials.
A single source of information is really the platform for what we're going to be working on. We have customers who will be calling in and they will receive the same information as the prospectus that we are developing, as the website, which is automatically updated with the course information as soon as the marketing section approve it. So for the first time in a long time, we will have one single source of data.
We also have had an excellent consultant who supports the Scottish Capita Unity College user base, and he's been fundamental in providing both the excellent technical support as well as the interpersonal support, the support of staff, as well as using his own very wide experience and deep knowledge of Capita and the Scottish FE sector. In quantifying the impact that Unity's had in the college, it's quite early days yet, but there is one area where we have actually got some some very hard evidence of improvement. The college had a slightly unenviable reputation within the Scottish FE sector of being one of the poorest colleges for the quality of the student registration information that was sent to the Scottish Qualifications Authority. And we had an error rate with the previous systems that we used of somewhere between 20 and 25%. That cost the college a lot of money. When any time students had to be re-registered, there was a cost associated with that. The first returns that went into the SQA for this year for students came back with a 0.3% error rate. So I think we've really moved from being the poorest in that respect to the best. When we're also looking at impact, though, we have to look at the impact of introducing a brand new system on the staff as a whole. I think where we need to take stock is in the speed with which we implemented these. And it has been said that really what we have done as a college is fit what should have been a 5-year implementation project into 3 years.
The change has gone remarkably well. I'm sure if you ask people in the college, they will tell you about some of the difficulties we've had. But this isn't just about changing one student record system for another. This is about changing the way in which we operate and the way in which we manage systems in the college.
When we looked at Unit E, we certainly appreciated the potential of the system to be customised and developed in ways that enabled us to develop our own applications and functions which didn't normally come out of the box. What we do intend to do with Unit E, using our newly developed student portal, is to provide direct access to individual students to their own records, their own attendance records, their own personal records, assessment records, any other records that really relate to them as individuals, to enable them to have access to these through their own portal.
And I think staff are now starting to see the benefits of all the effort that's gone in, that we're starting to get robust management reports in a way we never have before, and that allows us to manage the business far more effectively. Previously, we never really knew how many students we had until we did the final count at the end of the year. I now have on my desktop an accurate record of how many students we have throughout the year. That's a first for us, and that is a huge, huge benefit. So as well as the initial planning, so we're able to plan the number of students, we're able to monitor far more effectively how we're doing as a business.